From the opening kick to the final whistle, Ohio State imposed its will on Michigan.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Monday edition of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Now the number one sports podcast network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, veteran sports talk host, delivering passionate coverage about your Buckeyes. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. During today's show, we will look ahead to the Big Ten title game against Indiana, as well as look at some hypotheticals regarding Ohio State playing Michigan in the future. But before we get to any of that, I got to bring in my guy, Mo Murphy, for this Monday show. It's the Monday after Ohio State beat Michigan for the first time since 2019, and it snapped a 4-game losing streak to the team up north. Mo, I know we both were hyped during this game. We're still hyped about this win right now, and we get a whole year, bro, to talk about this win, to talk about this team, and to just discuss the total, complete win, team win, and domination of Michigan in their house, in the snow. It was their conditions. If there was a weather forecast that Michigan fans would have wanted, 30 degrees, snowy, a little bit wet on the field, the ball's getting wet, they got what they wanted, and Ohio State still won.
Yeah, Jay, I mean, 100%. First off, I'm honored to be able to celebrate the first time since 2019, which means the first time since my podcasting career started that Ohio State has beat Michigan. I've had to record all these shows on whether it's my show or Come On Locked On Buckeyes. I've never been able to celebrate a win against Ohio State since I've known you. I've never been able to celebrate on your platform on Locked On Buckeyes. And I've never been able to look at the show and look at the comments and be able to respond to people. So shout out to everybody that listens. I'm ready to respond to all y'all comments. I want to hear I want to interact with everybody on what everybody got to say about this Michigan game. It's one of those type of moments because to me, as crazy as it's a big moment in my podcast career as well as yours, because I started a podcast in 2020. We haven't beat them since 2019. It's the first time where I've actually been able to come and celebrate this game. Even celebrated a national championship and playoff appearances and all that. But I have not been able to celebrate this game and be on the winning side. So it's a great feeling.
Bro, it's a great feeling. But it's even better. It's a better feeling because I think going into this game, there were some Ohio State fans, maybe even you, Mo, that had some you were curious about how Ryan Day's mentals are going to be in this game. Would he be leaning into the storylines? Got to win the rushing battle to win the game, or the truest thing about football, you got to win the battle in the trenches to win a game like this. Would he lean into those storylines? Would he lean into trying to prove something to somebody or even to himself? Or would he just play Buckeye football? And Buckeye football right now is tough in the trenches on both offensive and defensive lines, a running game that can get it done 4, 5, 6 yards a pop. You're not trying to just lean on explosive runs. You're just trying to be very, very efficient. A quarterback that takes what the defense is giving him and is able to bounce back after throwing really 2 bad passes. The one to Cardinal Tate, okay, I get it. First play of the game, he had been there in a while. I understand why you make that pass. The one to Jeremiah Smith on the sideline, that was a play that I think Julian Sayin would take back. But he bounced back in a big way. That's one of the most impressive things to me in this game was the way that Julian Sayin bounced back after the first 2 throws of the game to be the quarterback Ohio State needed. Not a guy to throw for 400 yards. He took what the defense gave him, threw a big pass to Will Kazmarek over the middle in the latter part of the second quarter. He threw 3 touchdown passes to his three receivers, and he just leaned into Ryan Day's motto all season. Just win. We ain't got to blow him out by 50 points. Just find a way to win, and that's exactly what Julian Sayin did.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as he threw that interception, and I was basically like, this is the scenario, down 3-0, we get the ball to start the game, and we make a mistake. And it's our quarterback, as Julian said. This is what the world wanted to see. They wanted to see what it's like when Ohio State gets punched in the mouth. How do they respond? When they make a mistake early in the game and they kind of basically put the ball in another team's court, how are they going to respond? And so being down 3-0, Julian Sayin throws the interception. I'm telling you, you can't make this up. Here we go. Like, man, bro's done played flawless almost all year. Ain't threw an interception when it mattered all year. And walks out there in this game, and his second pass of the day is an interception. Now, part of that was just the fact of Ohio State coming out being aggressive. First play of the game, down the field shot to Carnell Tate. So second play of the game was just a forced throw to Jeremiah Smith. I think they just game planned to come out there and get the playmakers the ball. And he bounced back though. At that situation, this is what everybody wanted to see from Ohio State, and so they saw it. And so now what you have to admit is that when a team punches Ohio State in the mouth, when a quarterback makes a mistake early, he's able to bounce back and play almost flawless from that point on. So for 55 of the 60 minutes of play, he played almost as flawless as you can get in the conditions that he played in. So yes, Julian Sayin was probably the brightest spot of the day. And it's not like he threw for 400 yards and 50 touchdowns or nothing crazy like that. But he made every throw that you needed him to make in the conditions when it mattered. And then once it was late in the game, it was just like, he was game managing from there. At that point, it was just run the ball. I think, I talked about it. Michigan waved the white flag semi-early based on how they played, called offensively, weren't really aggressive to try and get the ball down the field. And I think that's why Ohio State didn't put up 40 and 50 points, because they respected the white flag wave through play calling.
I don't want to take the next thought because I know we both have thoughts about what impressed us. But what impressed you in this game?
I mean, you said it with Julian Sayin, but like Ryan Day, because here's the thing, like Julian Sayin could have responded appropriately. Everybody could have responded the right way, but Ryan Day could not have. And Ryan Day, after that interception, could have panicked. And instead, like he trusted Matt Patricia in the defense, and then he turned right back around. And whether it was him play calling or Brian Hartline, he trusted in whatever the game plan was and didn't shy away from it. We didn't start running the ball a lot more. He gave it right back to Julian Sayin and allowed him to march down the field and try and score a touchdown. Like they go up 6-0 off the interception. We go right back down and score a touchdown because Ryan Day did not let his ego, Ryan Day did not let his fear of losing this game or letting this game slip away get in the way of doing the right thing, which is allow Julian Sayin to bounce back from this. Don't protect him from a mistake. See how he responds. You need to see this as a head coach. So for Ryan Day to be able to see it through and allow Julian Sayin to bounce back from that and not kind of hide him and hope that Bo Jackson was going to run for 100+ yards and hope that screen passes to Jeremiah Smith will result in big plays and kind of check downs will be check down our way down the field will work and be enough to beat Michigan. Instead, he trusted in the game plan, trusted in Julian Sayin. And so, to me, I think Ryan Day deserves, for as much as he's gotten killed 2 days, the Monday after playing Michigan, I think he deserves a lot of flowers for how he handled, especially the entire situation early, because he could have panicked. Everybody could have panicked, but if there was somebody that we would have had the least amount of confidence in that moment when Julian Sayin threw a touchdown, it would be Ryan Day. Like, no disrespect, because Ryan Day has earned all the doubt that we've had with him over the years, and I've been less critical than probably anybody else. I've been his biggest fan in the corner, but as criticized as he's been over these past few years, even after winning a national championship, for this game to be such a focal point as a stain on his career after being a defending national champion head coach, undefeated going into this game, I'm proud to see the way he was able to stay level-headed and manage this game as a head coach and do what it took to win the game.
We're just getting started. I want to continue this conversation about Ryan Day and what he did to impress me after the break. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the Game Time app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when your great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. You pull up the app, and the layout makes it so simple to scroll through matchups and compare seat views. Pick a game, tap a section, and you have your tickets locked in within minutes. No confusion, no hunting for fine print. Take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets in every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. I'm sure, Mo, there are people that are watching, listening to this show that are like you, that are thinking about Ryan Day, what he has shown them throughout the season, and then what he did in this game for them to gain a greater appreciation for Ryan Day, because there are even moments in this game where Ryan Day could have panicked. Ryan Day could have cracked. Ryan Day could have looked at the lead or the deficit being down 6-0 in the first quarter and realizing snow's coming. We're not sure what's going to happen. We're not sure how our quarterback and our players are going to go. We're not really sure how Jeremiah Smith and Cardinal Tate will be able to handle these wetter, slick conditions. Ryan Day could have folded. He didn't. He trusted his own preparation as well as the players' preparation for the game and let everything else go where it should have gone. And Ryan Day's gained a lot of – I've learned to appreciate Ryan Day a whole lot more this year because, I mean, we talked last year after that loss, bro. I was so upset. I was so confused, so frustrated because that shouldn't have happened. But it wasn't something that we hadn't seen before where a Ryan Day team was better than their opponent and all of a sudden they're losing and it's a loss that was something that could have been prevented. But Ryan Day in this game, he said it all year. The message is to win. That's the motto. That's the mission in every game. But also, he trusted the preparation. The message he had week 1 against Texas for Sayin and the rest of the players was the same message he had against Michigan, where it could have changed. But he didn't want to change anything because he realized the formula that they have right now is working. And I give my hats off to Ryan Day for sticking to the formula because the formula that he has this year continues to bring more W's for the Buckeyes right now.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing, Jay. Like, his formula is sustainable for, like, as long as he's the head coach at Ohio State. Like, I told everybody last year when we won the national championship, like, I think you let the wrong person win the national championship at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because Ryan Day, back against the wall, came out and got some guys to come out and fight with him back against the wall to do everything they could to win the national championship, and he did. And now, like, he got that off his back. Like, after losing to Michigan for the 4th time in a row, I mean, you're literally talking about people wanted Ryan Day out. Like, people were waiting to see where Ohio State falls in the playoff, in the playoff selection show, who they're going to match up against, what type of gauntlet they're going to have to go through in order to win the national championship. People were painting, like, the possibility of they lose this game, Ryan Day's gone. They lose this game, Ryan Day's gone. They don't win this game, Ryan Day's gone. And we went and won the national championship, and Ryan Day could relax, and Ryan Day could go back to the drawing board and figure out what's best for him and his program. And right now, it may not be – we have athletes everywhere. We got great players everywhere. It may not be the way you want to see it, but also, like, what we have to do as fans is do the same thing that coaches and players have to do, adapt to the new era. Mm-hmm. Winning is the only important thing. You don't have to win by style points as long as you're winning in today. It's not BCS where 3 teams could be undefeated. You got to be 2 of the 3 most impressive teams. So how you beat this team and how you beat that team, it's going to come down to wins and losses. And being in the Big Ten or the SEC, you get 2. So as long as you don't lose more than 2, especially when you're Ohio State or you're Texas or something, you will be good. And so just win, just get through it. Based on snap count, my players have played basically 2 games less than everybody when it comes to snaps. All of this got him ready for that moment, and it was one of those, I think he was really prepared to unleash the dogs and everything a go. Even with the weather, I mean, the first play of the game on the offensive side of the ball was down the field to Cardinal Tate one-on-one. Like, and then a forced throw to Jeremiah Smith, but, like, there was no hesitation to send the message that you're going to have to deal with our playmakers all day. But the way it just went, even throughout the season, people were complaining. We're waiting to pull the top off on the offense. Like, you're leaving you got a Ferrari at a trailer park, basically, is what everybody had the feeling of, like, this but it's winning. And you're 12-0, you beat Michigan, you're going to play for a Big Ten championship, and you're the favorite to win the national championship back to back. So it may not, with Ryan Day, this formula might be his formula for the next 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years, however long he's at Ohio State. And we may not always love it, as far as it may not be as aesthetically pleasing as it was when Urban Meyer had the dominant teams, or as it may be more Jim Tressel-like, but more dominant than Jim Tressel was. And people didn't always like watching the Jim Tressel teams, but them Jim Tressel teams was winning. They was winning all the time. And so now his formula, he might have figured out, and he got the pressures off. Now he's beat Michigan. He's ended the streak and he's won a national championship. He goes and wins this Big Ten championship. Everything that you wanted to see from Ryan Day, he did in a calendar year since January 1st. You want to see him win a national championship? He did it. You wanted to see him beat Michigan? He did it. You want to see him win the conference championship? He's going to do it coming this Saturday. So now everything, I think he's going to be able to coach comfortably, and I think his method is going to work because Ohio State is never going to have a shortage of weapons or choice of quarterback or choice of anybody, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. He's going to have choices, and he's just always got to make the right choices. So far, he's done that.
He made the right choice by hiring Matt Patricia to replace Jim Knowles, because that was one of the things going into the season when you see Jim Knowles going to Penn State. Everyone's wondering who's going to replace him, where's the guy going to come from. You hear Matt Patricia, who I have so much respect for what he did in the NFL. I don't really put a bad mark on his name because of what happened in Detroit. One, it was Detroit back at that time, and was his first time being a head coach. I am not knocking him for that. Most guys don't succeed the first time they're a head coach. Look at Nick Saban when he went to the NFL, trying to be a head coach. It didn't work out. It doesn't happen for a lot of people. The one thing you saw with Matt Patricia in this game, early on, first drive, bro, Jordan Marshall, left side, going outside. That was sometimes that's one of the things with his defense. You could go outside a little bit, but he got to the second level, and then he was almost to go to the end zone. I mean, it was one of those things where you're like, oh, okay, their game plan is going to be the same old thing, and Jordan Marshall's a really good running back. Playing hurt, might I add. They made some tweaks. They knew how to contain Bryce Underwood. All of a sudden, you're going up against a third-string running back who more talented than most third-string running backs, but the defense has answers. And one thing Ryan Day did 4 years ago was he tried to find a head coach of the defense. That's not a normal term you hear every single day about trying to find a guy to lead the defense that Ryan Day doesn't have to go over there and monitor all the time. He doesn't really do that with the defense right now. He has 100% trust in Matt Patricia. And, bro, that showed up in a big way on Saturday because Matt Patricia's fingerprints were all over the defensive blueprint, the defensive game plan, and you let them dogs roam free while playing fast. That's what we got on Saturday in the big house.
Yeah, the only thing I hated to see is like, man, we only gonna have Matt Patricia for maybe one more year, because he's not he's not old by any means. Like, this is only the beginning of possibly his college career. Who knows? He could be revived to go back to the NFL. Like, he's gonna have options. Everybody sees what he's doing with this Ohio State defense. Like, he took. I mean, this is almost the same unit, but mind you, Jay. This is a unit that lost 7 starters on the defensive side after winning a national championship? 8. And everybody said this defense is going to be what takes a step back. And offensively, that's how Ohio State is going to have to beat teams. Like, we were going to coming into the season, like, Julian Sayin was going to have to be a dude, and it was like, you better be, if he's decent of a dude, you got Carnell Tate, you got Jeremiah Smith, it should be an easy job. We weren't banking on our running backs, we weren't banking on Bo Jackson being as good as he was, but we definitely weren't banking on us really having the best defense in the country. We were unsure of Matt Patricia and everything that he's done, and instead, and it's like the moment with him and Caden McDonald at the end of the game, like, I don't know if you saw it, but when he just came up to, Matt Patricia, and he gave him a hug and was like, we did it, coach. Like, I love you, man. Like, we did it. We beat him. Like, this was an accomplishment, but that was a moment between a guy that's been there, who's really been counted out, who turned into, bro, he might be a first-round pick under his production this year under Matt Patricia. Like, another guy, Arvell Reese, Arvell Reese now might be considered, people are still saying Caleb Downs, but there's people slowly saying Arvell Reese might be the best defensive player in the country. And that's coming under Matt Patricia. Like, some of these guys had breakout years and made their names for themselves. Caden Curry. I mean, this dude looks like the replace of, Jack Sawyer and the Bosa brothers and Chase Young. And he looks like the guy, and he's been on that roster. There's not a coincidence that some of these guys that's been on that roster that haven't given us half the production on the defensive side of the ball are stars in their roles, because we get a new defensive coordinator. Whatever it is, we could talk schemes. We could talk all that. Like, everybody can say all of that. Matt Patricia made all of these dudes believe in their ability. Period, point blank. Because the moments of Matt Patricia haven't been, whether it was Caleb Downs or whether it's Caden McDonald, Jeremiah Smith talked about him when he was on Caleb Downs' podcast. Nobody talks about Matt Patricia, how great he is schematically. Everybody talks about Matt Patricia, how much they love him and how much they love the coach and how great he is as a guy, how much he cares about us as players, how much he cares about us as young men. So whatever it is that he came with that and that mantra works, and him being a genius schematically, that's just a bonus, because you could be a genius. Jim Knowles was known to be a genius schematically, but a lot of players, like now that it comes out and these Ohio State players speak about it, they weren't really feeling his scheme. They weren't really feeling, Caleb Downs didn't feel like he was being allowed to play his game in that defense. He said in this, Matt Patricia, bro, it's more free. I get to relax and really just play my game and this, that, and other, whatever that means position by position. Everybody is doing that under Matt Patricia. And so I just hate to see him be so great, because, guys, especially since he's not a head coach, like, guys don't stay at that coordinator when they're that good. And some university wants to sign up for that and get some players with that type of caliber in the building. And so I just hate for the fact that Matt Patricia is so good, we won't have him but for another year or two. I don't think he stays at Ohio State for the long haul.
No, this conversation is so good. I wish we could do it for another 30, 40 minutes, but we don't have that much time. We do have time to look ahead to this upcoming weekend. It's 1 versus 2 in the Big Ten championship game, and Mo and I are going to look ahead to the game against Indiana after the break. This episode is brought to you by Omaha Steaks. The holidays always feel a little easier when you already know the perfect gift, and Omaha Steaks makes it almost too simple. Whether you're treating yourself this season or sending something memorable to family and friends, Omaha Steaks delivers handcrafted perfection right to their door. And this week is the best time to jump in because their cyber sale is here and the deals are huge. I've given Omaha Steaks as a gift before, and the reaction is always the same. Excitement when the box arrives, and even bigger smiles when everything hits the grill. The quality is exactly what you hope for. Incredibly tender steaks, rich flavor, and meals that make hosting or weekend cooking easier. Save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and an extra 20% off select favorites, during their cyber sale. And for an additional $35 off, use promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code COLLEGE. Terms apply. See site for details. So, Mo, we're not going to do like a full breakdown of the game or anything like that. We're going to kind of do something a little bit different. Hear your score prediction first. I'm going to save mine for Friday show the day before the game, and then kind of piggyback the conversation after that. So, Mo, what is your score prediction for Ohio State versus Indiana in the Big Ten championship game on Saturday night?
I'm going to go Ohio State 31, Indiana 21. Yeah, I'm going to go Ohio State 31, Indiana 21.
So my first question to that is, why do you think Indiana will score the most points on Ohio State's defense anybody has scored all year?
One, I think this is the best offense that we're playing all year, outside of maybe people argue Texas, but I don't know if the Texas team that we played in week 1 is the same Texas offense that you'll make the argument for right now, as far as that being the best offense that we've played. But if you want to have that conversation, then sure. I think Indiana, 31-21, that sounds like a close game to everybody. But I think Ohio State I don't think we're looking to blow Indiana out. So when the score is 28-10 at the start of the fourth quarter, I see us slow walking the dog. We get a field goal. They score a touchdown. We don't score. They come like, I don't, or it's 21-7 midway through the third quarter. Like, I see it being like the Michigan game. I don't think there's no hate for Indiana. There's no prove a point against Indiana. Indiana hasn't beaten us in a game. If anything, they're looking for their look back because we beat them last year. So, like, there's nothing that points to this game where I'm thinking a week after there was a possibility of Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith not playing, that we're just going to unleash them and let them run wild in a dome. Even though that's a possibility if they really are, if we were just kind of overplaying the injury status in a sense, then we could let the dogs go and just prove a point. 1 versus 2, we're hands down the best team in the country, but that does nothing. Just winning this game, I think we're just going to be very dominant early and just cruise the rest of the way, which puts us at 31. And I think Indiana's just able to score. They're able to score some points. They're scrappy, a Kurt Cinetti team. They're not going to go away. And you're going to look and like, you look at the box score and you'd be like, oh, Ohio State didn't really blow out Indiana. But like anybody who watched the game understands like they dominated Indiana from start to finish.
And I feel like it's going to be a similar vibe similar feel of the game. I don't think it's going to be a scenario where Ohio State will not be in complete control the entire time, where they're going to kind of dominate possession by possession, drive by drive, and kind of, even though Indiana will score, I think I can see them scoring multiple touchdowns. I'm not going to shy away from that. I just don't think they're going to be able to contain Ohio State's offense or defense. And let's just say the special teams does the unthinkable and returns a punt or a kickoff for a touchdown. That's something that I don't really – I know it happened last year when Caleb Johnson returned a punt. I don't think he'll return a punt this weekend. I would be really shocked if they put him deep to do either one of those two things. But I think the way that Ohio State's O-line and D-line are playing right now, that is something that Indiana has not seen. And I know they played Oregon. I don't think Oregon's O-line or D-line are what Ohio State's are right now. I think that Ohio State up front is going to be able to beat them up. It's going to be able to get pressure on Mendoza. And if you want to say it's going to be a Heisman moment, Sayin's going to get that. I don't really care about Heisman moments. I want the reward to go to the player that is the most outstanding player in college football. And right now, the only true duo battle I think it is right now, it's either Julian Sayin or Jeremiah Love. I think Sayin's had a better year than Mendoza. I think Jeremiah Love's been great. One guy's undefeated. One guy has 2 losses. I think those two things are very, very big in separating the two teams and those two players in this race. But I think it's going to be a game where Ohio State can do a similar approach to how they've done all year. Just play their game, be very, very efficient on offense, make quick adjustments on defense, and they'll walk away with the win. I'll tell you, I do think Ohio State's going to win. Won't get my score prediction, but I don't have any. After what we saw last week, and I saw how Ryan Day's energy and his confidence was the same all week, that gives me more confidence in Ohio State going into this game against Indiana.
Yeah, I don't want – here's the thing. I said Ohio State 31-21, and the side that you took, you have a great point. Like maybe I gave 21 is too many points. Sure. I just don't want people to kill me because it ain't disrespect. I'm not disrespecting our Buckeyes saying somebody might score 21 points on us. I think winning the Big Ten championship is a cause of concern, and I'm just saying, like, I don't think Indiana's going to flat out score 21 on Ohio State. I think in context, they ended up with 21, but they scored when it didn't matter. Like 2 of their scores were when it didn't matter in the fourth quarter. In their final 2 drives, they tried to get some momentum going or something like that. Like, I don't think it's going to be tit for tat up to 21 and Ohio State got to pull away. But, I just got to preference that by, I don't want people to think, oh, you think Indiana's going to score 21 on our defense? What do you think we're not good? Like, I mean, listen to the standard we said, Jay. Like, even that's the first thing I said, 31-21. You like, why you think they're going to score 21 on the defense? Like, I forgot. We ain't nobody scored, 13? That's the most somebody scored on us this year?
16, and that was the most anybody scored all season.
Yeah, so, saying somebody might score 20 is like, it's eye-opening to people. But I think this defense is really good. But at some point, bro, like we are going to play a team good enough to give us a run for our money defensively, make us have to make some plays truly and like really have to play to the best of our ability at some point. And like, I think Indiana has the potential to do that. Like they can score, they can play fast pace. Like I'm not saying they can, they're not, if it's a shootout, even if they scored 28 and it's a shootout, we're scoring 50. Like right. If we allow them to score 28, that means they can't stop us to save their life. Like I do trust our defense, even in shootouts, to make a few stops that other teams can't make on our side. So if they get 28, we're scoring 50. But at 31-21, conservative Indiana just, they close in on the final minute when the game doesn't matter and score a touchdown that's meaningless. And they've ended up with 21. But I think Ohio State walks through the Big Ten championship. No disrespect to Indiana. I think Indiana's a good team, but I also don't think that this is the flat out second best team in the country. And I don't think this is a team that after we beat in the Big Ten championship, I don't think we're going to see them in the national championship. Like, I don't think this is a team we'll have to see again. So like until the national championship, but I'm not worried about like, oh, if we skate by and beat Indiana 31-21, we'll have to see them again in the national championship. I don't want to play them again. Like Indiana's a very good team. They're a respectable team. This isn't just going to be some walk in the park for Ohio State, but I mean, it ain't gonna be no jog, but it'll be a slight walk in the park for Ohio State. I think a lot like Michigan. Like I'm not saying Indiana's Michigan, but just the whole like they'll never really flinch. Ohio State don't make that mistake. Julian Sayin don't throw that interception. I think you look at the whole game differently. He go down and score that drive instead of throwing that interception. We dominate Michigan from the first time we touched the ball. Like the only reason they had an opportunity was because we didn't. We messed up and gave them an opportunity the first time we touched the ball. So I think we could get Indiana shook. And I think Indiana's going to focus too much on beating Ohio State when there should be a bigger picture for them too. It ain't all about the Big Ten championship. And I think emotionally, Indiana will play a little too high because I think for them, this is like a Super Bowl to them. There's bigger picture for us, and we'll casually win this game. For Indiana, they're going to do everything in their power to try and win this game, and I think that might be to their detriment.
But I think while Indiana has had the style points all year and that they've scored 50 on numerous teams, I don't think they want to see Ohio State in a shootout. And Ohio State hasn't tried to score 50 week after week after week or hit the 250 to 275 rushing number week after week after week. They haven't even cared about that. And that's one thing I like about Ryan Day's NFL approach. It's like in the NFL, you don't care about that stuff. You care about trying to have one more
wins and losses.
That's it. Just wins and losses. And if they try to go into a shootout, we think we saw Tressel Ball last week. You're going to see old school Ryan Day on Saturday, and it's going to be lights out because they don't have an answer for Jeremiah Smith or Colonel Tate. None whatsoever. And then if you get Max Clear in the mix, there's nothing they can do to stop the offense. And now we know the Buckeyes defense has had answers for anything that's thrown their way this year. I ain't got a problem with the defense this weekend. I ain't got a problem with the offense either. If Indiana wants to have a shootout, Ohio State will welcome that every day of the week and twice on Sunday because they have more dogs than Indiana does.
Yeah, I think Ohio State's just going to – here's the thing. Their motto is just win. They can win a million different ways. So they'll play your game and beat you at your game. I think that's what this Ohio State team – I think that's what we just missing about this Ohio State is we're waiting on them to let it loose and score 50. I think they're waiting on the team to make them try and score 50. Like we want to see this as fans, but as Ohio State, I think they're like, we will. If somebody makes us do that, like if somebody forces us to score 50, we will. I think they were prepared to do it in the Michigan game, but Michigan kind of waving the white flag and being down 24-9, letting it get to 27-9 and not trying to be aggressive offensively and just try and waste as much time as you can on drives, kind of stopped Ohio State from mentally matching that and trying to go for 50. But like, I don't think they're not just going to enter any game and say, we're going to hang 50 on this team's head because, but I think they're going to go in knowing that if this team thinks we can't, we will. If they think they're going to play some type of shootout game and we can't get to 50 and that's the mark, we will get to 50 a lot faster than they will. I just think you want to slow it and grind it out, they'll win that way too. You want to who can make the least amount of mistakes, they'll bank on them making less than your quarterback, or they'll every way that you want to play, they'll bank on they can do it better. Like, and especially now, they're gonna have full confidence that they can do it in the trenches and be tougher than you because they got past Michigan. If there was one team that could bully Ohio State in the trenches that's been doing it for the past few years, it's Michigan. With Ohio State having conquered that and not get bullied in the trenches and be pretty dominant in there, I think they have. You know, they got 100% confidence. They can play any way. Any coach wants to play on any field, especially from here on out. Every field they play on is going to benefit Ohio State because it's either in a dome or it's going to be great weather. Weather is not going to be a factor for Ohio State from here on out. So it's to Ohio State's advantage from here on out as well. We could play yo ball in our dome. That's basically what it. We could play yo ball in our dome. We can play our ball in our dome. We bet we'll beat you at your game, and we'll also bet that y'all won't beat us at ours. I think that's the mentality. So that's why it's just win. No matter what it costs, whatever it takes to win. We don't know until we see what the other team throws out in front of us. But other than that, whatever it takes to win. And I think there's a confidence there that we can play any style of play.
He is Mo Murphy. You can follow him on Twitter or X, whichever one you call it, at Coach Mo Murphy. You can follow me on the same platform at JStevens07. Remember, Locked on Buckeyes is on any social media platform out there, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, we're there, giving you more Buckeye coverage every day of the week. This has been Locked on Buckeyes right here on your Monday. We'll see you next time.